Motherhood. It's a minefield for recovering people pleasers and overperformance. For me, it was a final straw that finally cracked me open so I could begin to come back home to myself. And it didn't happen with a thunderstorm or some dramatic event. It was the constant building, dripping pressure. Hi, welcome to Real Talk Deep Growth, a space for true stories and real shift. And today I'm talking about overperformance in motherhood. How does overperformance in motherhood show up? It can show up in many ways. But today I want to talk about 5 signs that can be easily overlooked. Let's dive in. The first one is self-doubt. For a person who has been living in a survival mode, it is very common to have to struggle with self-doubt. And the reason is that when you are functioning in that survival mode, your brain rewires to seek validation and acknowledgement from the outside in order then to proceed or make a decision. So it's very common to struggle with decision making. And then when you look at it in the motherhood, it has extra weight to it because the decisions we as mothers or parents make, they can be very important and impactful on our children's lives. That is why it can be triggering and debilitating to have the constant self-doubt, and that spirals into overthinking and ruminating over making decisions. Second one is believing that you carry the full responsibility for your child's happiness. And this one is confusing because I think we often misunderstand our role. There is a difference between wanting happiness for your child and creating the environment for their utmost well-being and happiness versus carrying the responsibility for always keeping the child happy. The third one is tolerance of big emotions of a child. For me, this was one of the hardest and the most surprising ways it showed up, because whenever my child would have a big emotional expression, it would trigger my nervous system alarm in a very deep way, in a way that it would feel like it's a life or death situation while it wasn't. And that would not allow me to move through emotions for myself and help my child. Fourth one is exhaustion and overextension. Because my system was constantly challenged and overextended, the mind would be always on. Resting was very difficult. Even if I would be acting like I'm resting, the inside, the whole system was not getting the rest that it needed. Fifth, fear of making a mistake. For me, self-awareness became hypervigilance. And hypervigilance then triggered or amplified my perfectionism that then spilled into the need for extra control. And that would show up as control of the diet, of routines, of activities. And the rigid control and the need to control, it creates extra stress and tension in the connection and in the relationship, which then is also exhausting and creates just additional challenges to handle. I believe it is very hard to spot these patterns in parenting, especially in motherhood, for 2 main reasons. First reason is that self-sacrifice is praised for mothers in society. We get accolades for putting someone's happiness ahead of yours. And again, there is a big difference between taking the responsibility and taking this role seriously, having the best intentions to create and care for well-being of your child versus self-abandonment and self-sacrifice and pure depletion in the sake of caring for your child. And the second one is truly that the lines are blurry. It is very hard to differentiate where you end and the child begins because they are so reliant on you. They're literally helpless in the very early stages of their life. They rely on you for actual survival. So it is a very nuanced playing field that is challenging to navigate and very easy to fall into those patterns. Also, motherhood is such an unpredictable and life-changing terrain that literally you change your life. You change and redefine what the life is, how you function, your habits, and you have to fit in that other human that is so reliant on you into your life. And if you add physical challenges like lack of sleep and also hormonal fluctuations, it already puts your system into a survival mode. So if you layer it on top of a system that was already functioning on fumes, that was already functioning in survival mode before this life changing event, then it becomes unmanageable and very challenging. So, how do you move through this? I will share some things that helped me. And the first one is extremely important. It is don't underestimate small steps. For me, as a person who used to have a mindset of all or nothing, it was life changing, truly. We often underestimate small, sustainable, routine steps that we can take that can truly support you and change your life. For example, a small step like taking a longer shower, intentionally giving yourself this time to come back into your body, to feel the sensation and sensory benefits of relaxing and taking time to just breathe and be with yourself. Second one is schedule time to do things that truly nurture you. And here I'm not talking about lavish spa days or long weekends with your girlfriends. While those are beautiful, the reality of life for many women is that the child care is expensive, and a lot of us live far away from the families and family systems. Child care is a luxury for a lot of us. What I'm talking about here is creating these small little windows throughout the day, even if it's a 2 minute. For me, stepping outside and feeling sunshine on my face is truly grounding and refreshing because we live in the Netherlands. Sun is a rare thing usually here, so it feels really special to go outside and bask in the sunshine. Or, for example, read a little chapter of your book if that's possible. Or introduce a movement into your day where you don't have to take out your mat. You just move standing up. For example, Qigong is beautiful, or even chair yoga, do some stretches that will bring you back into your body. And the last one is embrace the messiness. Embrace the messiness or physical messiness, emotional and mental. It is important and vital to have routines and boundaries that will keep you structured in parenting. But allowing for some freedom and flow is also very important because in this freedom and flow, that's how you build the connection with your children. So allowing one day in your schedule where it's free day and you're free to choose. If you feel adventurous, you go for adventure. If you feel like you need some rest and downtime, you rest and you create that environment of downtime. that is essential. This shift is not about fixing yourself or changing the role as a mother. It's about putting yourself in the center where you focus more of your energy and efforts on caring for yourself, on loving yourself. And that way, you will be able to show up as a grounded leader, and your love and your care will naturally outflow, and your children will be able to bask in it and enjoy it. So, if that resonates, subscribe. Join the space where we get to relax and accept how it is to be a messy human. Bye bye for now.